День добрый. Извините, мой русский, я слишком долго не общался на русском. Может, на английском вам будет удобнее слышать меня, потому что у меня совсем странный акцент. Okay, so I'm gonna break this down. This story about Slovakia being a success story and everything around it and automotive. Don't get me wrong. There is undisputable benefit coming with all the foreign direct investments that came to Slovakia, especially in automotive. But at the same time, there are 5 lessons I wanted to point out in my speech today, which Belarus should take from Slovakia. Not the lessons. I don't want to lecture you about how you should reform your economy. This is something absolutely out of question. You all know the best how to deal with your economy. I just want to draw an example of what you should avoid in reforming your economy in the future, because we've done several grave mistakes that we're paying for now. As Valerie already pointed out, Slovakia and Belarus were often compared to each other in 90s. While Belarus was vastly developed, the Slovakia and Czechoslovakia were also very industrialized countries. We both are very industrialized countries, but Slovakia has 5 million inhabitants, while Belarus has 10 million now. So it is obvious that this country will be much more developed in terms of GDP. But what we've done, and the first, what was wrong about Slovakia in the beginning, we just stepped on one place. In one place, we've been often referred to as black hole of Europe in 90s by already gone Madeleine Albright. So then we opened up to reforms, and we opened up our economy. This is something what is ahead of Belarus, likely, and this is where we started to become a Tatra tiger. Maybe some of you might have or might not have heard this term about being Slovakia was a great success story. There were lots of foreign direct investments, lots of privatization, so lots of capital, and Slovakia was starting to open to the world. And this is what it expects Belarus as well. And what we've done wrong, or what we didn't take into account, was that lots of money that were flowing into the country, this money needs to be transferred to something tangible. It doesn't have to be, it needs to really go to educational system, innovations, or even let's say, add value to these foreign direct investments. Because if you don't build upon the free money that is flowing into your country will become just dependent on these foreign direct investments as Slovakia is right now. We are not really in charge of our economy today, because we pretty much sold everything we had in our country. So this is the first lesson for Belarus I would take from the history of Slovakia. Never sell your strategic companies, such as power plants, such as gas industries, such as oil refineries, as we did, because these companies are the major sources of revenues for our country, and we are not in charge of this right now. And there is an energetic crisis in the world, and we've got 2 nuclear power plants in the country, and we have to sell our energy that is being produced in Slovakia. We have to sell it internationally, and we buy it from the international markets for 5 times the price. So this is something what you should take into account when you're selling your private, your state-owned enterprises. I'm not saying what Valerie has pointed out very rightly so, that sometimes these companies aren't very well managed. And it especially happens in the countries that are very monotonous economies, as a matter of fact. Second major lesson from Slovak economy and from Slovakia being so open to the world is that you should capitalize on these FDIs. You should always ask, what's the add value of these investments that are flowing to your country? So what is very important is that what these investments will bring to your country. For instance, the Volkswagen has built the whole ecosystem of schools, of roads, lots of infrastructure. They are supporting educational system, as Valerie pointed out, and this is something what you should think about when you work with foreign companies. Also, there is another dimension of add value for companies, and that's that there is a whole ecosystem of subcontractors that are that can be brought from abroad, or they can be developed in your countries. So you're pretty much developing substitutes for the very investment that is actually in your country. Third, this actually refers to previous point, but stimulate domestic production. So even though there will be lots of investments, which is beneficial to our economy, there is a vast need to support your own businesses. Why? Because, for instance, in Slovak case, we export 87% of our production just to the European Union markets that are right now that are going to recession. Our exports are falling down, and we have issues because our export is too monotonous. People are always mentioning Slovakia as a success story in automotive segment, but at the same time there is a fifth factory being built in the East very recently, and majority of our GDP is based in automotive. Imagine that the consumption in automotive is falling down, and what's your economy is going to do with that? Nothing, because you're not in charge of these large companies, right? And you're not in charge of global consumption of automobiles. So now what is the lesson here is you need to diversify the production in your country. You need to support your own businesses. You need to support your innovation, that innovations that will actually help to compete your exports on foreign markets, because Belarus is 10 million market, so it's not going to sustain itself. You need to export. Slovakia is 5 million market, and it really needs to export to survive and to economically thrive. So that's why Slovakia is today the 12th most open economy in the world. But it bears its consequences because we're dependent on automotive. And the final lesson is that success does not last forever. You need to, in order to progress, you need to take care of your economy continuously. So if Slovakia was a black hole of Europe in 90s, and in 2000s we were a economic tiger in Europe, today we're the third poorest economy in the European Union. The countries we've been competing for being economic success stories are now 10 places above us, such as Estonia, such as Lithuania, and now we're comparing ourselves with Romania and Bulgaria that are latecomers to the EU, and that were always considered to be least developed countries in the EU. So you need to take care of your own successes, otherwise you would end up like Slovakia, which is now a roller coaster country since 1990s. So I'm sorry that I haven't outlined this like bright picture of Slovakia, but I think it's very important to be honest with each other, and there are lessons that can be taken. You can avoid the fate of Slovakia. Belarus has a good industrial base, educated workforce, and I think these are the things that you can build on. But take the lessons I just told you seriously. Thank you very much.